This week's coaster needs no introduction, and the timing is not coincidental. Yep, it is the big one this week. Oh, no, not that one. No, it's not that one either. Just watch and see. Oh yeah, you guys, here we are back in Beachy Point, and we're about to talk about a Mack Hypercoaster in what is no coincidence at all, Hyperia's opening week. Welcome aboard, everybody. Thanks for coming along for the ride. And then way back when, we did a poll for a Hypercoaster, and because you lot are horny for Macks all the time, it was pretty obvious which was going to win, really, wasn't it? I mean, come on. I've burned through 4 layouts in this park. This is the 4th of the members. You've seen the 3rd layout. The other 2 just aren't even worth sharing. But I settled on this little hot mess, and I am actually quite here for it. It's exactly what would happen if Hyperia and DC Rivals had a baby. So let's show you around. I also teased, by the way, in the last episode, all of this stuff. It's not the final placement for a lot of the stuff. It needs this Hypercoaster needs a lot of custom supporting. You can see that already. So stuff's going to change and move around as and when we need to do stuff. But this is what we've got. We've got the station here, and then we have our first turnaround into the brake run. I didn't want to completely copy Hyperia here. A normal turnaround is just fine. It doesn't need to be an outer banked one. It's all good. And it comes into the lift hill. There it is, lift hill. It's 45 degrees, and it is set to, I think, 12 or 14 miles an hour. It's the same as Hyperia's, so it's pretty quick. And then we come into the first drop. DC Rivals says hi. It's a twisted first drop, and this was an absolute pain to profile. Smoothie Smooth does not like this type of drop, but we've done it. So we've got the first drop here, and it comes down this way, really close to the Junior Coaster, which, by the way, has not been smoothed out, so do not come at me for that. But it comes into the first drop here, into the first airtime hill. It is a parabolic airtime hill. This also needs a little bit of reprofiling and a bit of smoothing, but this just gives you an idea of what it's going to happen here. Into the drop here, and then into an overbanked turn. So this comes this way. It's a regular overbanked turn, so it's actual proper overbank. And then into the non-inverting Immelman, which these are an absolute pig to profile. Like, I just don't know how people have done it. This is the best you can get because the track just does not bend in the way that you need it to bend, and I just don't know what the secret is. So it's the best you're going to get without mods. So there you go. That's what we're going to say. We come this way into an outer banked turn. Of course, Hyperia says hi on that one, and then into the same sort of combination that you've got with the dive loop, I guess you call it here, into what they, I think, Mack call the non-inverted turnaround or something, the stall turn, whatever it is. Anyway, it's this way, and then we just start to snake our way back to the brake run. You can't really do any longer than this as a layout because you just don't have the room to play with. I mean, the last layout I had was pretty sprawling, and it just wasn't workable for this park. So this is the area that I'm going to be working in today. I'm not going to get everything else done, so without further ado, I think I should probably just shut up and get on with it. See you in a minute. Alright then, you guys, you know the drill by now. It's about halfway through the episode, and I'm going to show you around a complete mess and pretend that it's going exactly as I wanted it to, and then make up something for the end of the episode. But fair warning this week, you are actually going to see lots of unfinished stuff that won't be done by the end of the episode, because everything else around it needs doing first, and it's just too much to do in one episode. So, either way, this is the little area that I've decided to work on this week. It's a nice, small, little, intimate area. It felt like it's right at the end of the park, so it needed to have some kind of congregation area inside here. I did think about having stalls and arcades and stuff in here. I still might, but at the moment I'm happy with it just being a bit of a plaza. We'll talk about all of the other stuff in a minute, but of course we'll talk about the main thing first, and that is the coaster. The station itself is very Valraven inspired. I do want it to be modern, but I don't want it to be this whole like Hyperia icon style modern, you know, a bit boxy, but I do want it to be a little bit, you know, unique. So I've decided to take aim at the Valraven station because I absolutely love how that slanted roof is. I've created an absolute murder nightmare for me later on. I don't know how I'm going to do this whole roof and stuff. It's fine. It's Tomorrow Me's problem. But I definitely wanted to reuse the idea of the slanted roofs because we did it with a gift shop outside the front of the park. So it felt like it needed to be somewhere else. So yeah, inside the station then, I've just started to give it a bit of a personality. I don't think I'm going to be able to do an open ceiling on this. I really did want to do it, but I don't think I'm going to be able to because I'm going to need to make a mess. So I think it's going to be a closed ceiling that's just going to go across here. So I need to do some kind of ceiling decoration. But anyway, I have done the rest inside here. I've started to put the baggage hold in. I started to clutter it out with some stuff. But I did want to use Idro's stone wall again, and I just wanted to give it a bit of variation and something just, you know, interesting to look at. So that's what I've done there. And then down here we've got some photos, so of course we've got photos. Now I'm inconsistently placing photos on all of my coasters at the moment, like some have got them, some have not got them, and that's kind of deliberate, it's by design. It's almost like the park would be going through and retrofitting them all, or they would have had them and they've taken them away or something. So it all depends on which ones sell and which ones don't, but it's a typical photo unit. It doesn't need to be anything more than this really. It is what it is. And then outside the back here I've put the maintenance shed together. I just want this to be a metal shed. I don't want this to be anything special. I don't want it to be consistent with the design. I don't want it to be anything more than this. But inside here what I have done is I have put the what they call the cage ladder down to the ground floor, put the concrete and stuff down, and you do have access from underneath to the track. Now I know that the Mack stations don't have actual track in, they have runners and the whole bottom is open, but we can't do it in Planet Coaster, so we just deal with track and just be done with it. So I've then also given it a bit of an access bay inside here, just with the concrete and whatever. So what I do need to do is to think of a strategy along here, because this it's a road, but it's not a road. So I don't know. I don't know what the park would do. I need to sort of play it out. And then of course we come to probably the star of the show, and that's the supports. I mean, this thing is now completely custom supported. Is it perfect? No, it's absolutely not. But is it decent enough? Yeah, it's the $2.20 principle. From up here, it looks pretty much alright. And actually, I quite like how we've now got a complete misbalance amongst the park, right? So we've got all of this side over here with lower rides, and then this right hand side are all of the taller rides, and it's split in half by the pier. I love it. It just gives this complete imbalance. But anyway, let's talk about these supports, because I can't take complete credit for these. So most of the supports have come from the DC Rivals version of the Mack Hyper that's on the workshop. I think it's ePadget 85. I think that's who it is. So what I've done is I've taken the supports and I've edited them, so they are my own work, but I didn't start from scratch, if you know what I mean. So what I've done here is just the first drop. I've just reprofiled all of the supports and stuff on here, and now it's looking decent. It's looking as you would expect. And then all of the mid-track supports, they're all just put in. They're all nice and simple, copied across from another coaster. This you see quite a lot on Mack. No, we're doing a Mack. You see this quite a lot on B&Ms. And I just kind of wanted to put this in this whole fan support system, and that's because we've got the track going underneath it, and it's also going to be a plaza and stuff. So I did need to do a little bit of playing around with the stuff. The shops that were here are now along here, and I'm okay with that. And I think I need to just change this plaza idea to be a little bit wider, so that we've got the support, and it's sort of that support sits in the middle of the plaza. So just need to tidy it up. But what I have done is I've made sure that we've got enough clearance on the chairlift here, right? So it's almost like the chairlift was here first and the Mack's come in after it, and it's sort of like gone around it. And then of course the supports all continue elsewhere, you know, it's all your typical supports and stuff. This little mess is going to look amazing when I can put flower beds and stuff in here. It's going to feel like a real, yes, it's going to feel great. We are going to talk about this in another episode. I'm not going to do this today because I know some of you are already going to come at me about clearances and stuff, and it's fine. But we'll talk about that in another episode. And then we've just got these little supports along here as well, so I've just put these in. Now these are Digital Dan's from Hyperia. No, that's a lie. That's a lie. This is still ePadget. Digital Dan's is here. So I have taken his from Hyperia, and again I've edited it. So while I didn't do them from scratch, They are technically still mine because I've edited his originals, but I'm going to give credit where it's due because he's done an amazing job at that work. So yeah, so that's put in there just to give the supports and stuff. So the stuff I'm not going to do is all of the perimeter fencing and stuff around here because of course I need to design the areas and stuff. So all of this is going to remain unfinished. So let's go back to the area that we are going to finish. So we've got our chloride. I've just put in all of the fences and stuff just all along here. So it's all starting to look decent. I'm going to do some of the gardening and whatever around so that it's just gonna finish it off and stuff. And then of course we've got the top spin, and I've started to give it a personality. I've started to give it its pad and its stuff all along here, and then just put in all the mulch and whatever along the outside. So we've just got a little bit of landscaping going on, and then we have surprise Chacho toilets. Yes, we do. So I'm trying something a little bit different here. I normally put the sinks and stuff along the walls, and I kind of want to do something different. So I've put a bit of a central island bay in the middle here, and then of course I've just put some kind of decoration and whatever on the walls, and then we've just got some plaster on the wall here, and then you've got the cubicles as you would find. I'm going for a little bit of a modern style. I wanted it to complement the station, so what we've got is just your usual what do you call it, slanted roof. I don't know why I couldn't think of the word slanted. Thank you, COVID. Thank you very much. So, going for the slanted pitched roof with the wood effect and stuff, and it's all going to be decent. So, like I say, when you put foliage and whatever just to bring this to life, it's actually going to look all right. So the queue line for the coaster then, it's just a nice simple affair. Again, we're going for stylized rather than themed. So I've put pebble mulch and stuff down just for the ride areas, and I've also put the dirt and stuff down, so this just needs path covers. And inside here, it's just one massive cattle pen. It's gross. I do need to do some stuff in here. It's not going to be themed. I think I'm going to take inspiration from GeForce at Drayton Manor when that was there, and that was just a big metal shed with no theming whatsoever. And it's just jank. It was horrible. I hated it, but I think it's perfect for what we're trying to achieve here. So there we go. That's how it's looking right now. When you see this next, it's all going to get done. So see you in a minute. Oh, unlike last week where we're dealing with a completely forgotten area of the park, in the summer, this area would be the complete polar opposite. This would be so busy. And it is done for now. This week it's kind of like a part one because it feels really weird that I can't show you the ride area and stuff because everything else around it needs doing. So I have just focused on this area here, but I love it. I love how this has turned out. It's just an absolute beaut. This plaza area looks really big and empty at the moment, but when it's busy, this is an absolute bottleneck and I love it. So let's talk about this then, the triumph of the station, because I've managed to pull off a blinder. It looks really simple and it looks a little bit messy, but we'll take messy when you're going for chic, right? Chacho thought that it would be really easy just to do these triangles and then you copy the triangle and then that's the roof of the next one. You just have to reposition it lightly. No. You have to do every single triangle one by one. So, but the effort was totally worth it. Now the side of the building looks a bit bland at the moment, and that's because you guys need to name the coaster, and when you name the coaster, the name of the coaster will go in this space and then it will fill it out. But yeah, I like it. So it's definitely Valraven vibes. I didn't want to use the patterns and stuff on here. I didn't want to go completely Valraven. I just wanted to copy the shaping, and I absolutely love it. Inside the station, a bit of tidying up, you know, all the usual stuff that you put in here. So bins and baggage holds and all that sort of stuff. But I've kept it really quite open. Now remember that we had a thing with the flawless coaster of wind and whatever. So because you've got this slanted roof here, and we're saying that maybe the wind always comes from, well, I don't even know what compass direction this would be, but it's going to come from this direction blowing inland, right? So that's why the roof is slanted that way. And then you also have this completely open so the wind can go through the station, and then you are good to go. But yeah, I like it. I like how it's come out. Photo booth then, a bit of touching up doing. I changed the colours and stuff so that this photos sign actually just turns out to be a little bit more prominent than it really was. And then I have also just done some colours and stuff in here, and I've just given it a bit of personality. So we are all good. Queue line then is all done as well, so it also has its path cover. Of course, it's going to have it bins and stuff put into the actual queue itself. And then we've just got some ride music and whatever. So we've got the speakers that are living in this area, and then I just put the mulch and stuff down. I think the mulch was already in actually, but I put the mulch down just to give it like that industrial, more vibe. And then of course the maintenance area, that's all done. So there's the transfer track. It comes into the maintenance shed. I didn't point out, by the way, beforehand that these are custom catwalks, but they're custom catwalks, and that's because I wanted them to continue inside here and then for it to be consistent either side. So we've also just finished off in here. We've just got lots of maintenance clutter and stuff that's going on. It possibly would be used as a bit of a storage shed, and this is sort of like what you'd get inside here. So all the usual gubbins that you find in this area, and then of course on the outside I've just put the actual maintenance bay and stuff just here. Like I said in the previous update, so I need to sort out, and in fact previous episodes as well, I need to sort out all the perimeter fencing. So I'm just not doing any of that at the moment. I'm just leaving it as it is, and then I'll just do it as a massive job lot. So our claw ride then is pretty decent. I like how this is now sitting. I wasn't entirely sure with its positioning, but actually when you put in some flowers and stuff around the outside and around the areas, it's all right. I dig it. I've also put a park map here. Of course, the park map is going to be put in once the park is finished, so I can get the whole thing in there. So I've just put a park map in there. And seating area outside here, just to break up the plaza slightly. It was just a little bit too stark without it. So yeah, that's what I've done there. And then of course we've got the top spin. I have decided not to put fountains. It's just a design decision. I've done fountains on every single other top spin that I've done, and there are top spins out there that don't have them, so let's just say this park wouldn't have them. So there we go. But it does have this cattle pen queue that's outside the front, and it's all a bit sad. It's actually pretty decent on the prestige though. Getting a high rated or a high prestige top spin is actually quite difficult, especially if you're going for a realistic program. You can get it, but the program that you have to use is not that great. But I do quite like how all the flowers and stuff have come about across the pad. I haven't done this side because I need to do this right here, right? So I think it's going to have a cover, so that's going to need to interact with the nature and stuff that's in this area. So for now the left hand side isn't done, but the right hand side is pretty much as I want it to be. And then this is the toilet area. I don't want it to be any more than this. I quite like that it sort of blocks off the view of the sea. It definitely gives the idea that it's the end of the park, that's for sure. So just put a couple of toilet signs up, and then all the path covers and stuff down here. And then inside the toilets, I've just given it a bit of decoration, you know, just kitting it out with the stuff. I've done some tidying up as well. I ended up moving the hand dryers over slightly so I could fit in the vending machine. Then that makes all of this sort of make sense a little bit as well. And I have, just for functional purposes, I've hidden ATMs behind some of the doors, just because, you know, when you're actually playing the park and you're playing it with money, you're going to need ATMs somewhere, and I'm not really putting them in. So, but anyway, this is how the other toilet's looking. Pretty much the same. It's just like got different posters and whatever, but the setup is actually the same. So yeah, I mean, I like how this is turning out. On the maintenance shed, by the way, I did decide to keep this area open. I'm not entirely sold on that as a concept, right? But yeah, do you know what? It's alright. I kind of like it because when you're actually playing the game, you can peek through and see what's inside. A lot of the stuff that I do is all like closed buildings, and you actually have to know to go in there to have a look. So this is quite cool. I quite like it. So let's talk about the outside of all of this then. I have started to do some of the work. So like I have put the perimeter fence up on here, but I haven't put any of the foliage and stuff because I don't know if I'm going to need to retract this, and then it's going to need other bits and whatever. So it's fine for now. But yeah, I started to do the work, right? But I've just decided that actually all of this extra work, it probably needs to be cut into two more episodes. So I think the next episode we're going to talk about shoring all of this area up. So we're going to do the junior coaster, we're going to do the station for the chairlift, which I think is just going to be a copy of the existing station, but this station is actually smaller, it's shorter, so we just need to adjust that. sort something out with the Golden Raptor ride. Is that right? No, that's the Rising Raptor, isn't it? Not Golden Eagle, whichever one it is. And then this food court area, and of course the observation tower. Now, what that means is we'll be able to then shore off all of the ride area along here. We'll be able to put all of our perimeter fences up. We'll be able to put all of our flowers and foliage and stuff in here as well. So this will finish all of this area off. And of course, I do need to do something with this junior coaster now that all of the supports are in the right places. This coaster isn't so much viable in this spot. I mean, I have deliberately designed this bit around these supports, and of course the actual Mack itself was designed around these supports. But if you have a look down here, it no longer fits, it no longer works. So what I need to do is just retrack it and come around here, I think, and then find a way of snaking it back into this position, and then that might actually change the context of the stuff that we've got here. So next episode, I think I'm probably going to work on all of that stuff. So that's it from the top, but let's just go back to the bit that we've done, so we can call it done. There you go, guys. Thank you so much for getting to the end of the episode. I really do appreciate it. As always, if you haven't left a like or a comment, or if you're not subscribed yet, please do. Let's go for a ride, shall we, guys? Have a good week. I will speak to you soon. Have a good one. Take care. Bye.